Hello, it's Camo Carissa, and I'm going to tell you what birth control I chose and how I chose it after having little Raven. She's out like a light. So, before I had Raven, I was always told that I couldn't have babies because I had a problem with cystic tumors. She's being a little wiggle butt. But, yeah, I had a lot of problem with cystic tumors, and I had had one. It got removed. It took half my fallopian tube with it, and so they were, oh, you won't have kids, blah blah blah. Well, they put me on the pill in order to help control my hormones to prevent me from getting another cystic tumor that big. So about the time I was 14 to, I guess, 19, I was taking the pill. Well, I wasn't really taking the pill because, like most people, I'd forget or I'd skip, and then I'd take a bunch of pills at once, which don't do that. It's horrible. And it just wasn't working for me. So after I had Raven, the doctor told me to take 6 weeks to decide, that's your healing time. And at the end of the 6 weeks, I had to have my decision on what birth control I chose. So I knew right away I didn't want the pill because I can't remember to take it every day, and it's just not for me. So I did a little research. I went online, and my sister, she does the shot that they do in your back. And she liked it at first, but she noticed that it was giving her kind of a hormone imbalance. It's a big surge of hormones all at once, and it just tapers off over a 3-month period, and then you get another shot. Surge of hormones, tapers off. Not really fun. And it made her gain a lot of weight. She gained 30 pounds since she had her son, and she, basically in a 6-month period, she gained 30 pounds. And she just doesn't like it. She was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and this shot wasn't helping at all. It was increasing this hormone imbalance in her body, making her hormones, her mood swing, and it just wasn't good. So I knew for sure I didn't want the shot. And then I have I have a lot of friends that have done the Implanon, which is the little stick. It's about an 1.5 inches long, and they put it in your arm, and it's supposed to last for a few years. It slowly gives off hormones. Well, if you gain muscle, and it wraps around it, and then they'll have to cut it out later. So basically, if you're not planning on doing anything with your life, it's great. But if you're planning on doing stuff, like I have one friend, she's a dancer, I could say, and she started gaining muscle, and now the thing is pushed behind her muscle, and when she flexes, you can see the little stick like in her arm, and it's pretty gross. I also had a lady I knew where she gained a lot of muscle. She was a little overweight when she got it. She toned her body up, gained muscle in her arm, bulked up, and they had to surgically remove the implant from her arm. And it was just bad. And then I've heard of a lot of people where it travels up their arm, catches into their artery that's right here in their arm. Just not a good deal. So I knew that was off the table for me. And there's a couple other options, like getting your tubes tied or pinched. They have the band now that they can put in your coochie. Yes, I call it a vagina coochie. And all this fun stuff. Well, I heard about the IUD. And there's 2 forms of it. There is a non-hormonal, which is made of copper. And then there is the hormonal, which is made of like plastic kind of stuff. Well, I did my research on both of them. In the one without hormones, it's made of copper, like I said. And it lasts 7 years. And the one with hormones, it lasts for 5 years. So, I don't know. I didn't really like the idea of having a piece of copper in my body, which I know a piece of plastic isn't that much better, but whatever. With the copper one, you'll still have your periods. It says they might be a little bit heavier, and you tend to get more cramps, which I've never had cramps before. I've never had a heavy period. My periods usually last 2 or 3 days, and they're usually really light. So I wasn't really concerned about that. But with the plastic one, it's supposed to lighten your periods, lighten your cramps. Some women just don't have periods at all, and it lasts 5 years. So I liked the idea of that. And it's got hormones, so it's still, circulating in your system, and it's a little bit more effective than the copper one. So the pills are like, I think 96% effective. The IUD and the shots like 98% effective, and these are 99% effective. So these are highest of all, from what I understand and what I've been told. Don't quote me on any of this because I'm not a gynecologist, I'm not an OBGYN, I'm not a doctor, I don't do this for a living. This is just what I've been told, what I've read up on, my outtake of the knowledge. So I chose the IUD. I chose the plastic one. I think it's the Mirena. I think that's what name it is. Anyway, so on my 6-week checkup, I told my doctor I want the IUD. She asked me which one. I told her the plastic one, the 5-year one, the Mirena. She says, okay. Her and the nurse go out, go get it. They come back in, have me lay down. Well, take my pants off, all that fun stuff. Lay down, put my feet up in the stirrups, scooch my butt to the very edge of the table, all this routine shit. Sorry. Crap. I'm trying not to cuss now that I got a little monkey. So, pray for me, people. I was kind of a potty mouth before, and, sometimes little bundles of joy inspire you to do better. Anyway, so after I got my feet up in the stirrups, she opened me up with the little thingy. I don't really remember what it's called. She showed me what it looks like. It's basically the thing they insert it with is this long pipe. It looks like a giant long straw with a little pusher thing at the end. And they stick the straw into your vagina. They put it into your cervix, and they just choop, and the little T thing comes out and opens up, and it catches on the outside of your cervix, so it's flat. And then there's the T part goes into your cervix, so the top part stops on your cervix. The T part goes down into your cervix. And then there's 2 little wires that come off of the end of the T part, and those just hang out in your vagina. Well, the doctor cuts them, and just short enough to where they can reach them when they're ready to take the IUD out, but they're not long enough to where it gets caught and just rips out or something. So they let me feel the strings after they chopped them, and they feel like fishing line. But as time goes, about a week, they said they should loosen up, and not loosen up, but kind of soften to where you can't even feel them. So they put it in. Everything was good, fine. I didn't feel anything at all except for the thing that they hold your Virginia open with. Yeah, it took 5 minutes. She cut the strings, asked me how it felt. I didn't feel anything while I was laying there. When I stood up, I did feel it wasn't really poking. It was a little discomfort, but a little, I guess it was kind of poking. But it wasn't stabbing. So it was just a little weird for the first 20-30 minutes. But after that, I couldn't feel it anymore. Nothing was weird. Yeah, she said some people cramp and bleed afterward, just because you are disrupting your cervix. And it's, I don't know, I didn't cramp at all. I did bleed a little bit, but only for about an hour. I just wore the little pad they had given me in the doctor's office. All of this was in office, so I didn't have to go into surgery or anything crazy. It was just doop doop done. Yeah, so I got it done on Tuesday. Today's Friday. They said wait a week before you have sex, and then have sex that next week so they can, monitor if it hurts, if it's uncomfortable anyway, if it hurts the man, if the strings aren't soft enough and it pokes his little weenie, whatever. So, yeah, but I also read online, don't quote me on this, that you only have to wait 24 hours before you have sex. But basically what I've learned is that the full week that you're waiting is for the... Now I can't talk. For the hormones to start getting into your body. So yeah, I will update you after 2 weeks of having it, I'll go back to the doctor and tell you what they say, tell you how everything went. So yeah, this is my journey with the IUD Mirena. If you have any questions, comments, you know where to do them.